This one, Vogue Career Wardrobe. Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's me Eva, and you are here because you want to reinvent your clothes and create the sustainable wardrobe you have always wanted. So today I got up quite early in the morning. It is really early morning here, and I washed my hair and I was just about to dry my hair, and I realized that I wake the whole house up. So that's why my hair is wet, in case you're wondering. And I thought I'm going to do a quick video and chat to you about patterns. It's not something I've done before on this channel, so I thought this is the first time for everything. And patterns are something that people that really like sewing do use a lot. And it's not something that people use a lot if they do styling. I use patterns, but I don't use them in the traditional sense. And what I mean by this is, as someone who used to go shopping quite a lot for clothes, and someone who stopped doing that, I've somehow find pleasure in finding old patterns, vintage patterns, patterns that you can't really find a lot of. You might be able to buy them off eBay, etc. But I quite like the treasure hunt of going into a second-hand shop and finding that basket that has got a lot of patterns in it. So what I do is look through everything. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more, and I get things that catch my eye for different reasons, and usually that's the details that are on clothes that that pattern creates. Now, I'm going to share with you some of the patterns that I have and why I bought them, and you'll see how we could start looking at patterns in a different way with a design eye, and how we could, with a little bit of knowledge, play around with things. So let's get started. Alright, so I have different types of patterns, and I recently tidied them a little bit, and I realized that I have got some from different companies. So today I'm going to talk to you about my Vogue patterns, and I've got them here. So that's a few of them. Wow, that's the Vogue ones that I have, and they're all quite old. But I bought them for a reason, and I had a little flick through to see what, sometimes you buy something and you kind of forget why I bought it. So I kind of had a little look to see whether that's still applicable, or what was I thinking, and I thought, actually, yeah, I still think that. So let's delve into it. The first one is clearly from the 80s, and it's this one. And I really like it, and the reason I like it is because even though this kind of silhouette is not really that in right now, I mean, it probably will come back at some point in one shape or another, I quite like the shape of the waistbands. I think they're really cool, and I thought it could be that instead of using the pattern as it should be, I could either make slight change to the waistband and make a completely different design using that, or the other thing that I can do is, instead of adding a skirt, because we've got seams here and here, it means that we don't, like, the skirt is a separate piece anyway as part of a dress, so we don't need to add it all. And I could change the sleeve, so maybe I could have a sleeveless top with a really cool waistband instead. And I just thought, a lot of the time when they're patterns that are fairly, when I say plain, I mean there is not a lot of detail going on, that you could do quite a lot of them and insert seams and panels. So I think that's pretty cool, and I quite like that also that you've got these different shapes of the skirt. And my favorite, and you might disagree, but my favorite are these ones that have got a little bit of sharp sort of edges to them, because they look very geometric, and I think that's very contemporary look. Even though this is from the 80s, if you just take the skirt alone, I think even as is could work quite well. And it's got big pockets, which is something that's coming in more and more, and it's an important thing. So that's why I got this pattern. And still applicable. Alright, next pattern. Now this one is more vintage, I think. I mean, I wish they said, if you know whether they say what year these patterns are, and I'm missing this and I don't know, please do let me know. I'd love to know. But the reason I got this is because even though it's a plain pattern, again, it's a shirt pattern, a plain shirt pattern, I think sometimes it's good to have one because you never know, you might want to make a shirt. And I quite like it because, so you may not be able to see, well, I'll do a close up on this, but essentially you've got no seam here, and this is very unusual. So you get, the front is basically one with the sleeve, which is very unusual. I haven't really seen that before on the high street. But the back, you've got a seam, and you could see it on here on that little picture. So it creates a really interesting design, even though you know, to the naked eye it looks like a very standard shirt. You get those interesting details, and I always look at the details when I look for patterns because they are what makes a garment interesting, even if it's one detail, and also area to work with, of course, if you want to make changes to it. But with this, I thought actually, even though these are all supposed to be made from the same fabrics all over, you could very easily have the front in one material, say black, and then the back in white, and it will create an interesting sort of monochrome effect with the seam being here. So that's why I thought that's interesting. Okay, next one. Okay, this is another one that's 80s. We're having a theme here, and I haven't meant that. I mean, stick around because there are all sorts of different ones in here. But basically, this one is what's not to like. I think it's so interesting. I mean, yeah, sure, we're not going, I can't see myself wearing it. Maybe in like 30 years time, fashion will be back to this kind of thing, I don't know. But I quite like, again, if we look at the details, I quite like that there are these really cool buttoned areas, and I think that's, again, very unusual. So even if I didn't want to use the whole pattern, I could just ditch the top and just have a skirt that's an interesting, like really nice pencil skirt that looks very professional, and we've got the little buttons there, and it just looks quite different. And the other thing that I can do is ignore the skirt completely, and like we're here, this is an interesting piece where you've got the top bit, and again, I could play around with this this bit here. I could change the sleeves so they're shorter, or I could get rid of the sleeves altogether. I might want to make the color different, and that will all create different effects. But because the starting point is interesting enough, the end design and result would be also much more interesting than if you just did this potentially. Next one. Okay, don't judge me, okay? This one, I mean, I was thinking, what was I thinking? Because quite frankly, I mean, I don't wear these. If you do, fair enough. But the thing is, then I realized why I bought it. And again, we've got a detail, and can you guess what it is? It's the frill. And in 2020, in particular, frills are supposed to be everywhere. I bought this ages ago, but frills come and go very often, and I thought at some point it might be interesting to use, like on the top, you've got all these interesting frills, where if you, again, either got rid of the sleeves or just did the sleeves, and had a short, maybe a crop top even, although for me I don't really wear crop tops, but just an idea. I'll just have it as a little short dress, like this one is quite cute in particular. And then I could, if I have a pattern for the frill, as straightforward as it is, I could change it and make it a bit longer so the frill is really flamboyant, or I could reduce it and make it really tiny. So you could do a lot with that, and I quite liked how here that particular detail is very visible because of the contrast, and I thought that looks cool. And it looked really cool as a blouse as well. So even though this is, I'd say, fairly dated, I think there's a lot of potential in there. Next one, okay, this is another 80s pattern. I don't know, I must have got the 80s ones from one place, I don't know, but I just love this one. And actually I'd wear this. I'd actually wear this now. I don't care. I think it's amazing. It looks very futuristic. I haven't actually made it. What drew me to it, besides the fact that it looks incredible, is that we've got really interesting pockets here. And again, I could reduce the pocket to make a small detail. I could go up. I could make it asymmetrical. I could change that panel so it goes more out or more in. I quite like that hood. I would not want to change that, but I mean, I could probably make it this bit different. Although in this case, I think this is actually layered and there is nothing here at all. So again, there is some potential to add things to it. I just think it's one of those patterns that at first glance, you just think, what on earth? What's going on? But actually when you really look at it, it looks pretty interesting. And so this is one of the very few patterns that I wouldn't really want to change, but I can change if I want to. Next one. Okay, very rarely do I buy men's patterns, mostly because I specialize in women's wear. But I mean, I bought this because I thought maybe at some point I'll make some shirts for my boyfriend. I don't know when that day would come, to be fair, but I thought I'd keep it just in case. He's got lots of shirts anyway, but maybe I could use it as an oversized women's shirt. But yeah, it doesn't fill me with excitement. The only reason I bought this is because I thought maybe at some point I could use it for my partner, and that's it. That's the reason. So let's move on. Okay, this one, Vogue Career Wardrobe. I don't know whether they still do that, I'm not sure. But I mean, it's interesting because again, that's very 80s, the power look. But quite like the different kinds of things. So in this pattern, so at the back, you'll see that there's lots of different kinds of, on each pattern you get what you can make. And I quite like that we've got basic trousers of different lengths, and I've got basic culottes, and we've got some basic shift dress, and just a basic jacket. And I like that these are very, very clean cut, because again, to use something like that as a starting point is a really good idea, because there's not a lot of distraction there, so we could very easily add panels and make things more interesting if we want to. But also, if we want to make something that's very classic, then this is it's good to have patterns like that as well. So I think this is actually quite versatile because you could do a lot with it. And by the way, I really love the way they've done this dress. I think this is very classy, whatever year it is, personally. Yeah, maybe that's what drew me to it in the first place, to actually have a second look. But yeah, so that's why I got this particular pattern, or patterns, shall I say. Okay. Gosh, I've got quite a few Vogue patterns. I had no idea. Like, I thought I had a couple, and I've saved the best for last actually. But I didn't know I had that many, so bear with me. Okay, this one looks a bit more 90s, and I quite like the idea of layering. I mean, this is a little bit more particular. The reason I got it is because I actually quite liked this design. I thought this one is quite interesting because it's asymmetrical, and again we've got this kind of sharp bit here which is very geometric, which I really like. The other one's okay. I've worn a similar skirt or trouser skirt type thing before. This is just a wrap skirt, but I just really like how comfortable they are, but also that they look very interesting. And again, because we have such a big area to play with, you could do a lot with it. Whether that's extra layering, changing the shape of the actual bit that folds on either side, or maybe playing with the actual ties and how big they are and how long they are, and how many times you can wrap them around the body. There's quite a lot to work with, but bottom line is I really like this skirt, and I thought it has potential for something a bit extra, and this is why I bought this one. Next one, I mean, do I need to say more? I mean, this is a sexy design, I really like it, and honestly, it doesn't need anything extra. I just really liked it. Sometimes you just see something and you want to have it, and that's what this is. Have I made it yet? No, I haven't, but well, I really like it. In fact, if you want me to show you how to make this, put comments and just below, and let me know, and maybe I will do it here on YouTube. Right, we're nearly there. I'm going to not show you that last one because that's my favorite. Now, it's hard to not laugh when I see this because it's so over the top, and I just can't believe Vogue. I can't believe you, Vogue, they got this. I can't believe I bought it either. And I remember holding it in my hand and thinking, should I get it? And then I thought, yeah, of course, why don't I get it? Essentially, it's got an interesting kind of tie here that goes all the way around, and at the back it's much better explained. And I thought, actually, that's a really cool thing to see the pattern of what it actually looks like, how they've done it, how you're supposed to attach it. I guess I was fascinated by this and wanting to understand it, and I thought if I know how to do this bit, I could apply it somewhere else. I mean, I think this would look better if it was on a, say, asymmetrical top, like on one of the shoulders, for example. Also, I mean, it doesn't even have to be exactly like this. It could be, you know, it could be altered once I know what I'm doing. And I quite like that at the front there's this little frills. Again, there's asymmetry, and I don't know what you've noticed, but I really seem to like asymmetrical designs. I like creating asymmetrical designs. I mean, that's pretty asymmetrical. There's beauty in it, I think, and I mean, this beautiful, I don't know, but it's definitely fascinating, and I think it's very interesting from a design point of view. So again, we could give it a go if you want to do a sew along here on YouTube. Let me know in the comments whether you want me to do this, because I haven't actually taken the time to sit down and understand this, but this is the reason why I got this pattern, so I probably should. Okay, when I say best for last, what I mean is this. Okay, so I went to this shop a few years ago, a second-hand shop, and it's on the Isle of Wight here in the UK. And in that shop, they had so many patterns. It's very possible I bought some of the other ones, or other patterns they have on there. But the bottom line is that they ended up being 10p each. 10p each. That's the equivalent of around 10 cents if you're in the States. I don't know the other currencies, but essentially it was just such little amount of money. I felt like I was in some kind of equivalent of fast fashion store. I don't know, but it was just like, Okay, so I got this Vogue pattern, which is actually a Ralph Lauren jacket pattern, and with a skirt, and it's such a classy design. Like, I really love it. It's so feminine, it's so well tailored, and it's very it's a look that's always gonna be in fashion, and you could just put on and wear with whatever. It doesn't have to be like with a skirt, but you could have it with jeans, and it'll still look incredible. And it's a Ralph Lauren one, which is also, like, I think really cool. It's an amazing find for 10 pence, and it's just beautiful, and I would not want to change it simply because it is nice as it is. and I think it could be made in all sorts of materials and it will look incredible in every one of them. So this is like, I cherish this pattern a lot. It is like the actual packaging is falling apart, probably one of the reasons why it was so cheap, but all the patterns in there, it's what's important is inside, and I really love it. And this is my favorite one out of all of these vogue patterns. Right, so that's it. That's it. So I appreciate this is probably a longer video. I didn't realize I have so many patterns by Vogue, and I did ramble on, but I just wanted to share that actually, even if you are not the biggest sewer and you're not into just buying loads and loads of patterns and new age patterns in a way that, you know, constantly come out, it's a good way to actually look for interesting details, and also with a bit of knowledge you could change things a little bit and make it even more interesting, and so together we could start building those skills. And yeah, perhaps if you want, I can show you how to change a pattern in different ways. Just let me know in the comments. Let me know whether you want me to do anything with patterns and whether it's not all your thing. That's fair either way. And if you want me to do any more of these videos, I've got patterns of different companies, and again they're all quite vintage and quite old and very interesting, and I've got a massive pile of miscellaneous ones from like completely different brands, again very vintage, even from the 60s, so they're interesting. And I'd like to share them with you, but do let me know. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed, because it does help me in the YouTube algorithm and also for more people to see these videos. So thanks in advance, and until next time, stay creative and see you then. Bye.